Joining me now is one of the Democrats vying to be their party's gubernatorial nominee, Newark Mayor Ras Baraka. Thank you so much for joining me, Mayor. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So, boy, this is a crowded field that you have here. The first one for New Jersey governor in a long time that folks will be voting in. Why should voters pick you over your competitors?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I am the mayor of the state's largest cities. At the end of the day, we have a unique position in solving some of the state's most difficult problems because we've been mitigating those problems in the city of Newark. Problems around housing affordability, around healthcare costs, around homelessness, around violence and public infrastructure. We've been mitigating these problems in very difficult situations and balancing our budget all at the same time while protecting immigrants and protecting those in marginalized communities and not running away from that and standing up to the forces that, loom over us to try to destroy our opportunity to have access to democracy. We've been doing it in Newark for a very, very long time. We didn't just start doing this when elections came. We've been doing it for years. Our record is clear, and people know that.
Well, as you know, President Trump made some significant gains in deep blue New Jersey, pulled off a better than expected showing in the state on election night. You have notably said recently that you think Democrats in New Jersey have been their own problem. What exactly do you mean by that? What do you plan to do about it if you do win?
Yeah, I agree. I think the framing is all wrong. People keep saying the Republicans gained ground or Trump gained ground. I would argue that the Democrats lost ground. It's important to frame it that way because when you say the Republicans gained ground and people start chasing them and believing that our policies are wrong, our policies are absolutely correct. It is the messengers that people have a problem with, that they don't trust, that they don't believe in, period. I think the problem with the Democratic Party is we have not been able to inspire our base. We haven't governed properly. In fact, the Democrats are the party of working families, and working families are struggling the most in this state. It's the regular mainline Democrats and those people who they support who have been problematic, who people don't trust, why they stay home. They stayed home for Kamala Harris, and they stayed home for Phil Murphy's last election, by the way, the governor, even more, who won by less percentage points than Kamala Harris did, in fact. So we're our own problem. We have to get out of our own way, new ideas, new people, with a good direction. We need to fight for what we want and not just talk about what we're against.
Well, speaking of the sitting governor, he's being sued over the state's immigration policy. You are also being sued over the policies in Newark, and you're also suing the interim U.S. attorney over your arrest last month. Let me ask you, if you were in fact governor, if you were to win, how would you handle the pushback from the Trump administration over ICE?
Well, I think we have a bill that needs to be passed in New Jersey called the Immigrant Trust Act that not all the candidates agree on. I do it is right now a strong suggestion in New Jersey. We need to make it law where we're not actively cooperating. The courts already said we didn't have to do that. Where we make sure we integrate immigrants into our community completely, not just with driver's license, but also giving them access and opportunity to the resources we have and to programming we have, and not ask people whether they documented or not. In our state, immigrants contribute over $1 billion to state and local taxes. They keep our GDP growing in the state, and it's not just a moral problem, it's an economic problem if we continue on this path that Trump is going down.
Well, let me ask you, because if you look, President Trump's poll numbers are still over 40% in the state. Do you think New Jersey voters want a governor who's going to defy Trump at every turn or try to work with him? We've seen, for example, Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer really try to reach across the aisle and work with Trump.
Well, I don't think it's about reaching across the aisle. I think there's a difference here, and people are making it like we don't want to cooperate with the president. But what are we cooperating with? The destruction of Medicaid, Social Security, the dismantling of the Department of Education, to pulling back veterans' benefits, SNAP benefits, attacking diversity, equity, and inclusion. We can't cooperate with that. That's cooperating with our death. Now, if he wants to invest in infrastructure, invest in small businesses, help our economy grow, we support that. We just don't support our own self-destruction, and we can never do that. I mean, this is not something that you can unite around, ultimately. And so I think the numbers that you're talking about around Trump, that's about the same number of people that voted for Donald Trump every time he ran for office nationally. I mean, we get about a little over 40% of voters in New Jersey support Donald Trump. They've supported him the first time, and they support him again And the country is deeply divided on this and deeply divided on very crucial and critical issues. And we have to hold our ground.
Let me ask you about this news that we got overnight. Last night, President Trump announced a travel ban on 12 countries and partial restrictions for 7 others. We saw impacts, of course, from the president's travel ban amid protests at Newark Airport in 2017. As mayor and as perhaps governor, how would you respond to this policy specifically? Are there steps that you think you could take here in New Jersey, or in New Jersey where you are? I should say I'm in New York.
Yeah, well, I think this is problematic. I mean, many of our residents are from these communities and countries that are banned. Their inability to get their relatives in to go back and forth is a problem, right? The kind of trade and commerce that happens between these countries is also a problem with our state as well. And so I think we need to push back against this with our Attorney General, unite with other states around the country. And I think we need to create a collaborative and joint effort around the country to push back against Trump policies in general, and this in specific. Right now, there's a bunch of disjointed, kind of disparate actions against what's happening, and it needs to be collective and collaborative strategy to push back against what's happening, led by the Democrats.
All right, Mayor Ras Baraka, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.